Hello, my name is Susan Sutherland. I am the minister at Mastrick Parish Church in Aberdeen. Thank you for joining me today. Last Sunday we celebrated Easter, and like the disciples a week earlier, we are still hiding away behind locked doors. For the disciples, contact with the people outside carried the risk of injury or even death by mob violence. For us, such contact with people may lead to severe or even fatal illness due to the corona pandemic. And we may find it hard to believe that Jesus is with us, especially in times like these. But so did the disciples, especially Thomas. Thomas wasn't there when Jesus showed up on Easter Day. His friends cannot convince him. Their testimony fails to persuade him that they have seen the Lord, that Jesus is alive. Show me, insists Thomas. Thomas is determined not to be taken in. He wants solid evidence. He didn't accept his friend's eyewitness account, and we have named him Doubting Thomas ever since. And we're not sure where Thomas was when Jesus appeared to the disciples on Easter Day. It seems unlikely that Thomas had gone back to his job, as none of the other disciples had. Maybe Thomas is like some folk today when they experience a tough blow in life, or when they encounter some tragedy. They withdraw from the fellowship and isolate themselves from the church community. Perhaps Thomas was just a bit low, and when the other disciples met, he didn't feel like going, so he didn't. But for whatever reason, Thomas wasn't present and seems to have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Thomas says, "Unless I see the prints of the nails in his hands and the place where his side was pierced, I will not believe." And it's interesting that Jesus repeats almost the exact same words back to Thomas. Jesus says to him, "See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it in my side. Stop doubting and believe." I think at that moment, Thomas stands at the great divide between those who take the risk of trusting in Jesus and those who do not. Thomas' response is absolute. Thomas falls down at Jesus' feet and he cries, "My Lord and my God." Thomas no longer needs the evidence he demands. Meeting Jesus is enough. The one who'd been the worst skeptic made the most profound confession of faith, recorded in all the Gospels, "My Lord and my God." A declaration so personal. And Thomas is the first to acknowledge the risen Jesus as both Lord and God. And yes, Thomas is a doubter, but his doubts had a purpose. He wanted to know the truth, and Christ's appearance gave him the opportunity of seeing for himself that what his friends had told him previously was indeed true. Jesus has said, "When you know the truth will set you free." And a lot of people forget that Jesus said, "I am the truth." Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." God asks us, implores us really, to believe without seeing. He asks that we simply believe because he is God. 2,000 years later, we've not seen Jesus, but we are blessed when we accept, believe, and receive his presence as a given. Right now, while we're going through this pandemic, we may be physically separated by this virus. And yes, it's easy to feel alone. But the miracle we celebrate, Jesus rising up from the grave, that binds us together with love. And that's what makes us a family. Nothing, absolutely nothing can separate us from God and from each other. Our ties aren't physical, they are spiritual. So we're never alone. And Jesus offers everyone his love, a love that binds, a love that protects, and a love that triumphs over all. Let's be honest, no matter how secure our faith appears to be, doubt may come to all of us. You may be going through a period of doubt at the moment, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. You see, God is able to take, and He's able to use our questions to lead us into a deeper understanding of His purpose and a richer sense of His love. And I would encourage you to read for yourself our gospel story about Thomas in John chapter 20. We often find that those who doubt most and strive to overcome their doubts turn out to be some of Christ's strongest disciples. Thomas, for example, he should have been renamed Believing Thomas because he travels further than any of the other disciples. He starts churches in India, and he goes further than any of the other disciples in declaring who Jesus is. My Lord and my God. He declares that Jesus is the Son of God, that He is alive, and that He is risen from the dead. So let us pray together. God of love, by your Son's unexpected, by His amazing resurrection, you show us that suffering and death are not the end. And we pray that you will allow our doubts to make our faith grow stronger and stronger. Whatever our worries at present in this COVID-19 pandemic, whatever our fears for the future, teach us, Lord, to trust in you and help us to live each day, each moment, in that sure and certain faith that you are always with us. Amen. Thank you for joining me today, and please pass this message on to someone else. It may be just what they are needing to hear at this moment. Have a good week, keep safe, keep well, and God bless you, my friends.